Hey everybody, my name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons. I wanted to thank you for listening to this episode of The Morning Show. I'm the creator, the producer, and the host of the show. We want you to check out our website. It's themorningshowwithnatalie.com. You can go to that website. You can see all about our sponsors, all about the show. You can even listen to live episodes while they're going on right there from the website. Another way to listen to the show live is go to Live 365. You can download that app and just search for The Morning Show. It's right there. Super easy. We want you to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you will. That way you can keep up with what's going on The Morning Show. Thank you. I hope you enjoy it. My name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons, and you are listening to The Morning Show. It's Thursday morning. You know what we do on Thursday morning. Every Thursday morning, we like to throw it back to a certain hit from maybe the 80s or the 90s because I just love that era. And today's pretty special for me. One of the best friends that I ever had, Mr. Andrew Ishee. He's here, right here on The Morning Show. Drew, are you there?
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, good morning. It's good to be on The Morning Show.
Drew, how you feeling this morning?
Fantastic. I'm driving in the rain. If you guys hear the pitter-patter of raindrops, that happens these days.
Yeah, it happens every now and then. Well, don't get distracted with us. We're just The Morning Show. So you drive and we'll just talk on the side. What about that?
Is that okay? Is it I won't get in trouble for doing an interview while I'm driving. Okay.
No, we're not even going to tell anybody. We're just going to keep that on the
late.
No, the rain won't bother us, but you don't let us distract you either. Drew, I've been telling them all about you here on The Morning Show. You've got you yourself, Mr. Andrew Ishee. You've got quite an impressive career in gospel music. It's just a pretty impressive thing you've got there. You've played with the very best, the very best. You stood on stage with the best. You've accompanied the best. You've entertained with the best. Would you take just a minute or two? They've been hearing me talk about it, but I want them to hear it from you. Give us just a minute or two and tell us where you've been over the last few years and some of the people you've played with, because you're a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not. But I have enjoyed making gospel music all my life. When I was really young, when you and I first met, I was playing with a local gospel quartet, and I think I was about 12 years old. But I was a big fan of the Duncan sisters, and so that was you folks that are listening nationally may not remember the Duncan sisters, but if in our area they were so popular. And Natalie, of course, is the youngest Duncan sister. So anyway, I was a fan, and later I got a chance to join the Kingsmen in let's see, when was that? 1997. I joined the Kingsmen early that year, and that was my first big break in the gospel music.
That was a pretty big break, Drew, to step in behind Anthony Berger. Pretty big one.
Well, he was amazing and very kind to me. That's people say, how did you learn to play the piano? When I was about 8 years old, my dad plays. He plays with chords and plays by ear. And he showed me 3 or 4 chords, and I prayed that I would be able to become a piano player, and just started playing by ear then. And I would go to concerts and wait around until afterwards and then catch the piano player for a gospel group. And Jeff Stice was a big influence. He would always take time with me after a concert and show me a bunch of chords. Same thing with Anthony Berger. He would do that. And those 2 groups, Jeff was with Perfect Heart, which was his quartet, and Anthony was with the Kingsmen. Both of those groups would let me come up play with them because they knew what a big fan I was.
Yeah.
Jim Hamill had met me in Jackson, Mississippi. Well, it used to be called the Municipal Auditorium. I think it's Thalamara Hall. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Thalamara Hall. Yeah.
Downtown, beautiful auditorium. And I was backstage in the green room because I was playing with a local group that was so popular, we were going to be able to play during the intermission. So, but they let us go back to the green room in the back, and Jim Hamill was back there eating, and he's, who are you, son? Jim was, and I told him I was with the local group. He said, "Can you play?" I said, "Oh yeah, I know all your songs." So he called me out to play one with them that night, and we did that forever going forward. But anyway, that's how I got the break in with the Kingsmen. They knew me from being a kid. And so when they needed somebody, the first time they needed somebody, my first job in gospel music was with the Dixie Echoes. Yeah. And I was kind of like a stand-in there. Randy plays piano, Randy Chelnut, but I also played. And then sometimes I would play, and sometimes he would, and sometimes we would both play. And it was he gave me a real break. He gave me a chance to go out with them for a little under a year when I was still in high school. And Eldridge Fox came to hear the Dixie Echoes one night, which was a little unusual.
I mean, can you imagine?
We were down in Florida, and I saw him out in the crowd, and I thought, well, this is really interesting. And the guys were talking about Eldridge Fox was here tonight, and he came and talked to me after the concert. And the Randy Matthews was with the Kingsmen, playing piano right after Anthony. And when he left the group, Eldridge came to that concert. He said, "Son, I just wanted to invite you." He said, "We're going to hire an older guy to take Randy's place right now because we just need somebody with a little more experience." He said, "But one of these days we're going to work together." And I was 16 years old then, and Tim Lovelace joined the Kingsmen, and he wasn't there very long. He was there about a year, and he had gotten married, and the Kingsmen travel a lot, and it was a little too much traveling for him. And Jake Hess offered him a position, so he left the group, which I was so glad.
You didn't complain about
pretty much
that.
promised me that he would give me a shot at it.
Yeah.
And so they let me interview then. That was right after Eldridge had a pretty big, he had a stroke.
Yeah.
A lot of folks that know him might remember that, but he hired me to join the group in '97. Great time. I'm sorry, I just went on and on about that, but it was so special to me. It was the only thing I ever wanted to do as a kid, playing the piano. People kind of would be wowed a little bit because I was so little, just a little, and I'm not a big guy anyway. When I was 12, I looked, 4. So.
Yeah. Well, Drew, we had that in common. And you mentioned at the beginning of this that we were kind of connected when we were kids. And around here,
I went to Washington on a school field trip and saw pictures of it. You took real pictures. You remember real pictures? You had to get them developed. And I'm wearing Duncan sisters T-shirts and all the pictures of my 7th grade school trip to Washington D.C. So
I want to see the
Lincoln
picture.
In the back.
And me, us on your shirt.
A kick out of that.
That's hilarious.
Absolutely.
But we were kind of funny.
Big things come in small packages.
That's it. Big things come.
It was a great hit, and you told me the Perrys passed on that song way back when. Because they had that song out, God's Little People, and I don't think they wanted to put out 2 at the same time that had the same.
Jeff Treese, he's got Sunday Drive now. They wrote that song.
Jeff wrote it.
His family did. But what I was going to say is, it would be so funny because around here, sometimes we would perform together, we'd be on stage, at the same concert, your group would be singing and we'd be singing. And so you would be on stage.
We played a duet together.
We did. Once. And you were tiny, you were small. And when I was little, I was tiny, I was small. So we were these little kids and I was the singer and you were the player. And it was really a sight to see because we were both so tiny up there on stage and people would get a kick out of that. I think it was just our size more than anything.
It looked like the Muppet Babies.
We really were babies. I mean, we were really babies on that stage performing with all that we had with a great passion and just giving it all we had. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you and I both shared that. We genuinely loved at that age already gospel music, something that some people don't grow into for a long time. To pick a genre and just be kind of committed to it the way that we were with Southern gospel back then. Anyway, but I know you want to talk about.
Well, let's just stop. Let's just stop because we have focused so much on the Kingsmen for these last few moments, and so let's just stop a second. And we've done a lot on the morning show to honor the Kingsmen. We've had whole days that were committed to throw back and to honor the Kingsmen and to honor Ray Dean Reese. And we talk a lot.
That was a good day. I enjoyed that show. I listened to that one.
And of course, Big Jim Hamill was a huge influence on my life. He'd let us get up and just like with you, my story is very similar. And that just had a huge impact on my life. So look, I want you to tell, I'm putting you on the spot. You were not prepared.
You want me to introduce a song?
I do. I want you to pick an old Kingsman song, introduce it. Let's just take a Kingsman moment. Let's just have it. Give us a Kingsman song.
This is a great story, and this is really gonna dovetail with what we'll talk about in a little while. I think that's what I want to talk about in a little while. So I mentioned Tim Lovelace played piano before I did with the Kingsmen for a short time. Tim's one of the most amazing people in the world. He's a songwriter. You're a songwriter, and he wrote a song for the Kingsmen called Get You to the Other Side.
Yep.
And it's on an album called Proven Time and Time Again. And in my opinion, I was with the group for about 5 years. That was the best album that we recorded while I was there. Jerry Martin singing tenor, Brian Hudson singing lead, Parker Jonathan and Ray Reese. That's the quartet lineup. And it's a phenomenal record. It had a #1 song on it called The Next Cloud.
Yes.
But
remember that song.
it should have had 2 #1 songs on it, because the song that Tim Lovelace wrote, Get You to the Other Side, it was a #2, I think, as far as the chart went. But it's my favorite song on the record. Can we do that one? And it's got this
great
cool
song.
It's got this cool bass part in it where Ray goes walking. It's my
walking.
favorite
Yeah.
part. So be sure if you're listening, pay attention to that. It's the best part.
I love it. Let's throw it back this morning. This is a little unexpected. This is just an extra treat for you on this Throwback Thursday. We got Andrew Ishee with us. He was the piano player for the Kingsmen when they recorded this.
And Tim Lovelace, former pianist of the Kingsmen, wrote this great song. Mary Alice might have been co-writer on it too.
She was co-writer, because when we did that tribute to Ray Dean, Tim actually said a little bit about this song, and I remember him saying that him and Mary Alice wrote this, and he had some fun memories with him.
It was a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Here it is, right here on the morning show, throwing it back to the Kingsmen unexpectedly. Here it is, Get You to the Other Side.
God says to cross over, don't worry how deep or wide. He knows when to send your miracle, he'll get you to the other side. You can walk on the water like Peter, or like Jonah, you can take a ride.
Or just walk right across like Moses did.
He'll get you to the other side. He'll get you to the other side. You may be like Joshua, waiting on God's command. Well, camping on the riverbed, ready to claim the land. The Jordan looks so dangerous, but there's one thing you know. Soon all will see the victory, 'cause he is in control. When God says to cross over, don't worry how deep or wide. He knows when to send your miracle, he'll get you to the other side. You can walk on the water like a Peter, or like Jonah, you can take a ride.
And just walk right across like Moses did.
He'll get you to the other side. He'll get you to the other side. Well, you may feel like Moses, water in front of you. Pharaoh's army is close behind and you don't know what to do. Call on God Almighty, see the power in his hands. And when the water parts, it's time to start
Walking to the promised land.
Walking to the promised land. When God says to cross over, don't worry how deep or wide. He knows when to send your miracle, he'll get you to the other side. You can walk on the water like Peter, or like Jonah, you can take a ride.
Just walk right across like Moses did. Walking
to the other side. Walking to the other side. Walking to the other side. Well, when God says to cross over, don't worry how deep or wide. He knows when to send your miracle, he'll get you to the other side. You can walk on the water like a Peter, or like Jonah, you can take a ride.
Just walk right across like Moses did. Walking
to the other side. Walking to the other side. Walking to the other side.
Well, Drew, I'm glad you picked that song because it's just so much fun. Never get tired of hearing that one. Yeah. Kingsman, Get You to the Other Side. Well, let's get focused on Palmetto State. We kind of, I got distracted with the Kingsmen right there, but you can't have
we
Andrew
love
Ishee
the
on the
Kingsmen.
show and not talk about the Kingsmen because you just go hand in hand.
I really do feel blessed. They've allowed me to come back and do a lot of things with them. We've done a lot of reunion things. We did a little tour together last year. They were in 21. It was great.
Yeah.
The Palmetto State Quartet, man, what an awesome place to work and make music. They were so good to me. I joined the Palmetto State Quartet in 2001, the end of 01. And the Kingsmen were kind of going through a transition period at the time. They restructured pretty significantly that year. They went by a different name for a while, the Carolina Boys. And I joined the Palmetto State Quartet. And great singers there. One of the best bass singers in the world that I ever worked with, his name is Jeff Pearls.
Yeah.
He does session work in Nashville and now. And he was with the group, Tony Peace, Brian Carter, Carrie Beatty, and myself. We were the whole makeup. We didn't have a band. It was just piano and the vocals. And we used some tracks a lot of times. Tony played the bass. It was kind of like what I remembered the cathedrals being when I was a kid, because they didn't have a big band. That wasn't their approach, but I really loved it. It was a great time.
Yeah, Drew, they were a traditional classic quartet, exactly what a Southern gospel quartet is supposed to be. Tell me about the song "Knock, Knock, Knock."
I was at home asleep one night, and I had been watching movies with Fred Astaire in them, like on Turner Classic Movies, I think.
Yeah.
And I had this dream about that song, "Knock, Knock, Knock." And in my dream, Fred Astaire was dancing to the song, and it had this big brass introduction. So at 2:00 in the morning, I got out of bed and went to I had a spin-it piano in my living room in North Carolina. I lived up there. And I went in there and I hammered that thing out on the piano and wrote it all down and went to the arrangement session where we were going to get ready for tracking. And we put that chart together. And that day at tracking, I had not played on any albums at Crossroads for any of the mainline groups I was with. This was the first one. They wanted me to play some of the songs, and they didn't really believe in that one too much, so they didn't care if I played on that one. so I played on that song, but I had that intro down from this weird dream that I had.
It was the catchiest part of the whole song. The intro was the catchiest part.
I was so pleased with it. I'll tell you, I really was. And so we recorded it, and then I sent it over to Tim to listen to, Tim Lovelace, who'd written the song, and he was super, super pumped about it. And the song started turning out really well, and they hired Milton Smith to do orchestration on the record, and I knew that song was getting brass. So the quartet convention was right about that time, and I saw Milton there, and so I really buttered him up about it. I said, "Hey, this is going to be the most important song on the record." I was really
you knew it.
To it. And,
you knew it, yeah.
I played on it. I wanted to be sure it sounded really good. So I knew that Milton was a big fan of brass, and I said, "Hey, we're looking for a Glenn Miller kind of sound on it." And so he laid heavy on the saxophones on it, which you'll hear in the mix and everything. It turned out fantastic. And then Palmetto comes in to do vocals. Well, I was going to go to the vocal session, but I was just going to go and observe. I didn't sing. And Jeff Collins was producing the record, but he had a death in his family. His mother passed away, and he was not able to come to the vocal days. So he called me and said, "Andrew, would you please produce the vocals for this record?" He said, "I think you can do it. I believe in you." And I was a little shocked, but I did. And the guys were fine with that. And so I did. And I just was so stoked at how the thing turned out. And I got to produce Aaron McCune singing bass on it. It was the first time he'd sung with Palmetto State on a recording. Gosh, what an amazing singer he is. Especially today.
Oh,
but
my goodness. Yes.
In his early 20s on this record. He might have been 22.
He was great then.
He was great then. Yeah.
But he is phenomenal today. He has grown up.
I work with him now, as you know, with Daily Vincent. And I didn't have to wonder about whether I wanted to go with Daily Vincent or not to do dates. in great part because Aaron McCune was there, and I've wanted to work with him again since Palmetto State because what a singer.
Mm-hmm. Well, you did a good job on producing that song, Andrew. It sure was a good one.
It turned out so well. The studio decided to release it as the first single from that recording, and they did. And Tim was really, really, really supportive of it, and he had been so patient because we strung him along holding that song for almost 2 years, and I appreciated him for that because he believed in our group and let us record a phenomenal song.
Yeah, it was probably the best song Palmetto State ever had.
Palmetto State. It's the only number one song that the group recorded.
Yeah. And Drew, you're cutting out just a little bit. I know you're in bad weather because we all heard the rain. We know that it's kind of sketchy there. So I don't know if people heard what you just said. I want to make sure everybody gets that statement. You guys hear that? He's struck. It's the weather. It's the weather. Look, I want everybody to know.
It's the only number one song that they ever had. Yeah.
Palmetto State sang from 1946 to 2013. And in 67 years, they had one number one song. And one of my best friends ever in the whole world produced that one number one song for Palmetto State. He's right here on the morning show, Mr. Andrew Ishee.
Well,
so congratulations on that.
Sweet. That's true.
Well,
the success was definitely the writing and the bass sound.
Well,
but I'll tell you one other thing.
Drew's telling something in a big way
in this song where he goes, he's. Oh, you can't hear me, can you?
We hear you. We can hear bits and pieces, but you sound so excited. Just go ahead because it's fun to hear what we hear.
Well, John Rulepaw had us a part in the song where he goes, he's still. And that I put that in there on purpose. That was he didn't naturally do that. I told him that I wanted him to sound like Hamill in that spot, where Hamill will be like, come on, man, or
it's just Hamill with a little higher pitch.
Yeah, that's it. So that was an homage to James Ernest Hamill right there.
That's so funny. Well, that's it. Let's play it right now, not wait any longer. Here's the number one song from Palmetto State, written by Tim Lovelace. Knock, knock, knock.
Knock, knock, knock. Don't you hear him knocking at your door? Knock, knock, knock. He has forgiveness and more. Listen to him. Knock, knock, knock. He has a miracle in store. Let him be your dearest friend. Open up and let him in. He's knock, 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 knocking at your door. Nothing but confusion everywhere you turn. This world is full of noise day and night. But there's a solution, a lesson we can learn. If you listen close, you can hear a sound coming from inside. Knock, knock, knock. Don't you hear him knocking at your door? Knock, knock, knock. He has forgiveness and more. Listen to him. Knock, knock, knock. He has a miracle in store. Let him be your dearest friend. Open up and let him in. He's knock, 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 knocking at your door. Maybe you don't know the Lord. Maybe he's your friend. But either way, he's drawing close to you. Gently knocking on your heart is where it all begins. He's waiting on the other side. What are you gonna do? Knock, knock, knock. Don't you hear him knocking at your door? Knock, knock, knock. He has forgiveness and more. Listen to him. Knock, knock, knock. He has a miracle in store. Let it be your dearest friend. Open up and let him in. He's knock, knock, knock. Knock, knock, knock. Don't you hear him knock, knock, knock. He's still knocking at your door. Knock, knock, knock. He has forgiveness and more. Listen to him knock, knock, knock. He has a miracle in store. Let it be your dearest friend. Open up and let him in. He's knock, knock, knock. Knocking at your door. Knock, 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 knock. Knocking at
knock. That's a good one, Andrew Ishee. You did well, my friend.
Well, hey, I was just glad to be in the room when it happened. It's a good recording.
It's a great recording, and you were a lot more than in the room, and we all know that. No, only number one they ever had, and you were probably responsible for that. So congratulations, my friend. Thank you for being on the morning show.
Just on the keys. Hey, what an honor to be on the morning show. Thank you, folks, for listening and supporting the businesses and keeping this morning show going like it is, because it's fabulous. I enjoy it every time.
I appreciate that, Drew. We've got to talk about the Kingsmen and Palmetto State. Now you're with Daly and Vincent. And hey, this would be a good time to throw in. I've never been to the Grand Ole Opry, but I want to come. You've been telling me you're going to get me some tickets. I want to come see Daly and Vincent.
Daly and Vincent. Yeah. They're Opry members, Jamie and Darren, and have been since 2015, I think. And so we played the Opry a lot. So if you come, there's a pretty good chance that you get to see me play the piano, but don't let that keep you away. It's a fantastic show.
I want to specifically come when Daly and Vincent is playing so I can see those guys. I've really got to where I love good bluegrass music. I can't say I always have.
Oh, yeah.
But in my old age, that's really growing on me. So I want to come see Daly and Vincent at the Opry.
We're bluegrass, but we do other things, you know. We do a lot of gospel and country music. And if you're going to play a Daly and Vincent song, I have a request. My favorite gospel song that we do.
Tell me.
Is another one of those feel good, clap your hands kind of songs. And it's called, the Statler Brothers did it too. It's a song called Noah Found Grace. Do you happen to have that one?
I've already got that song. I have it. We play it. We play that song here on the morning show. I've played it many times. Let's end with that one. You think that'll be okay? Let's do it.
Yeah, it's got a piano intro. That's why I like it.
Well, if I ever come to the Opry, maybe I will do this one.
Maybe we'll do this one, yeah.
Maybe you'll do this one. All right. Well, we went back to the Kingsmen. We went back to Palmetto State. We're ending out right where we are today with Daly and Vincent. Drew, you got a friend here on the morning show. Don't forget it.
Thanks, Natalie. It's great listening, and thanks for having me on today. It's been a joy.
Love you, my friend. We'll talk again soon.
See you later.
All right. Here's Daly and Vincent. Noah Found Grace.
Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. That's the reason the scripts record. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Well, the Lord looked down from his window in the sky and said,
I created man, but I don't remember why. Nothing but by his creation day. I'll send a little water and I'll wash them all away.
So the Lord came down to look around a spell, and there he found Noah behaving mighty well, and that is the reason the scripts record. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. That's the reason the scripts record. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. The Lord said,
Noah, there's gonna be a flood. There's gonna be some water. There's gonna be some mud. Take off your hat, Noah. Take off your coat. Get ham, Sam, and Japheth, and build yourself a boat.
Noah said, Lord, I don't believe I could. The Lord said,
Noah, get some sturdy gopher wood. You never know what you can do till you try. I bet 50 cubits wide and 30 cubits high.
Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. That's the reason the scripts record. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Noah said, there it is, Lord. The Lord said,
Noah, it's time to get aboard. Now take a creature, a he and a she, and of course Mrs. Noah and the whole family.
Then Noah said, Lord, it's looking mighty dark. The Lord said,
Noah, get these creatures in the ark.
Noah said, Lord, it's beginning to pour.
The Lord said, shut the door.
Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. That's the reason the scripts record. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Well, the ark rose up on the foot of the deep, and after 40 days, Mr. Noah took a pick and said, We ain't moving, Lord. Where we at? The Lord said,
Sitting on Mount Aaron.
Then Noah said, Lord, it's looking mighty dry. The Lord said,
Noah, see my rainbow in the sky. Now take all the creatures and people to earth, and don't be more trouble than you were.